Pixar is back with another metaphysical journey through life called Soul, and I've got your review right now. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell here with my thoughts on Soul, the latest feature film from Pixar, which, after missing its release dates this summer and then again this fall, is going straight to Disney Plus on Christmas Day. No premium access, so if you have Disney Plus, you will be able to watch the latest Pixar film as you're settling down under the Christmas tree or whatever kind of decorations you have up, or maybe you don't have any decorations. That's fine too. Jamie Foxx heads up a great voice cast as Joe, a frustrated high school music teacher that is on the verge of giving up his dreams of being a professional jazz musician. But just as he is on the verge of his big break, he finds himself transported to the afterlife where he has to race against time to find his way back into his own body and still make the big gig that he just got lined up. And that's pretty much all that you really need to know about Soul going in. I've noticed after seeing the movie and then looking back at the previews and trailers and posters, etc., that there are some major aspects of this movie that have not been including in any of the advertising. And it's not something that I would really want to give away either, because this film does go to a few unexpected places. It reminded me a little bit of Brave, not in tone or anything else, but because you think the movie is going a certain direction, and then it kind of takes a left turn and goes in a very different direction than you were expecting. Soul really does combine a lot of things that Pixar has done successfully in the past, some of the things that skew younger, as well as some of the older skewing stuff. I think that this movie is going to be compared quite a bit to Inside Out, which was the last Pixar film from director Pete Docter. He also directed this movie. Although Soul, if you can believe it, is actually a little bit more metaphysical and abstract than Inside Out is, because you're not just talking about the emotions inside an individual's head, you're sort of talking about the meaning of life. What is it like to have an essence? How does somebody become the way that they are? And this is handled in comical ways, but it also is a little bit deep, man. You know, you just kind of sit around and talk about it. You even have a character in the movie who's a little bit like that, who's kind of, you know, with the spirit realm, man. I think that that's what this movie feels like a little bit, but much like Inside Out, see, I told you so, it doesn't alienate a younger audience. I think that the younger audience is still going to enjoy this film for a lot of different reasons. The character design, as always with Pixar, is great. I really like how they translate what a human soul would look like, but still maintain the distinct features. And as I mentioned, Jamie Foxx, he is a great actor. He's an Oscar-winning actor. He's done a lot of different kinds of movies, which I think leads people to discount him sometimes. But he really is the heart and soul of the movie, and Joe is a very conflicted guy, as are so many other people who have had dreams of being famous, dreams of doing the thing that they love. And it's not even so much that Joe wants to be rich, it's that he wants to live a rich life. He wants to live a life that is fulfilling, and he thinks that he may be seeing that slip from his grasp. They take the character of Joe into a lot of interesting and different corners, and as I also said, a lot of even broader and more comedic corners. He's joined throughout much of the film by another soul, number 22, who is voiced by Tina Fey, and she provides a counterpoint. Joe wants nothing more than to get back to Earth. 22 has spent its entire existence trying not to go to Earth, and so that difference between them makes for a good dynamic between those characters, and it keeps the movie fresh as it goes through the different iterations of Joe's journey. There is also, of course, the classic Pixar humor, and I found myself laughing a lot at this movie, not just at the crazy hijinks that these characters would get into sometimes, but at the jokes that, as Pixar does so well, are aimed at adults. There's one history joke regarding Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Jackson that caught me by surprise and had me laughing out loud. And then there is a joke made at the expense of the poor New York Knicks, the long-suffering butt of any joke made about the NBA. However, as New York Knicks jokes go, this one's a pretty good one. I think a lot of people criticize Pixar for going for the feels in a very obvious way, and I think perhaps they have ramped up the sentimentality from time to time, but I also think they're generally just an animation studio that is able to tell really affecting stories, and Soul is another one of those stories. It's something that I think a lot of people can relate to, the idea of unrealized dreams and the idea of just appreciating life, or sometimes what happens when you don't appreciate life. These are universal themes, and as Pixar has done with so many other movies, they're able to do it in a way that will speak to adults as well as children. A lot of times everybody wants to know, where does it rank? Where does it rank? I think that Soul is a very unique film. Did it affect me as much as Inside Out, there's another mention for you. No, it did not. But Inside Out is my favorite Pixar film. I do think that this is a very strong Pixar film. I'm curious, as I have been for a couple of the other movies that have ended up either doing hybrid releases or bypassing theaters altogether, how Soul would have done at the box office, because it is, as I mentioned before, a very esoteric movie. It's a difficult movie to describe, particularly the way that it was marketed, and I wonder if it would have brought in that kind of audience that we're used to seeing from a Pixar film. This is going to be a very interesting year. Their film Onward had a very abbreviated box office run earlier this year. Their film Soul now, their second film of the year, is not going to have a box office run at all. And so much of Pixar's identity has been wrapped up in the fact that they churn out commercial hit after commercial hit. The legacies of these two films in Pixar's canon, Onward and Soul, I think are going to rest much more in the reaction. I really enjoyed Soul. I think it is beautifully animated. The score, by the way, which is done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who also did another one of my favorite scores in a movie this year, David Fincher's Mank. Their work is fantastic. It is perhaps my favorite movie score of the year, and I love that in both of these films we see these really talented Oscar-winning composers already pushing the boundaries and trying new and different things. The score does elevate this movie. The animation from Pixar, as always, elevates the film. The voice cast is outstanding. There's not a whole lot for me to criticize other than in the hierarchy of greatness, sometimes with a Pixar movie, you don't quite achieve the top of that scale. That doesn't mean it's a failure. As a matter of fact, Soul is a movie that I enjoy very much. I think that it is a great idea if you are looking for something to watch on Christmas Day. Soul is a movie that you can gather the family around, get the kids, get grandma, get whoever you might have that lives in your household, or have everybody jump on Zoom and watch it all together in their own homes. Whatever you're able to do, I think that Soul is going to be a great option for the family, and I think it is worthy of the Pixar banner. And those are my thoughts on Pixar's Soul. I know they're a little bit shorter than some of my reviews, but I honestly don't want to give away too much, and there wasn't a whole lot that I could single out wrong with the movie, just a bunch that I like. What did you think of the movie? Do you plan to watch it on Christmas Day? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you want to know even more of what I'm doing, you can check me out over on Patreon at patreon.com/Dan Murrell. And you can check out my podcast, All My Movies, which comes out each and every week. We just put out an episode to wrap up the holiday season with film critic and historian Leonard Maltin as we talk about the classic film, It's a Wonderful Life. I would love for you to go and give that episode a listen. You can find all that information down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and have a very happy and safe holiday. I'll see you next time.